Hi, I'm Liz Findlay, and I'm going to talk about when chords reappear. So I had this over a number of years where I would systematically cut cords with certain people and a certain person in my life. And it was very frustrating that the cords would reappear and I would have to do the cord cutting again. I became aware that there are certain factors that need to be dealt with within the cord cutting procedure to ensure that these cords do not reappear again and again and again. And so I'd like to share some of these factors with you because it was such a game changer for me. So one of them is contracts. You can think of it as a sort of a vow agreement of some sorts, and it could be within this lifetime or even another lifetime. That even when you cut the cords, there is a contract or agreement that makes them reappear. And so that contract or agreement needs to be destroyed within the cord cutting process. The other thing that can play a major factor in this is programs. So we can be running programs, for example, of self-sabotage. And these sorts of programs can also make cords reappear after cutting them. And so it's important within the procedure to destroy these programs. And I personally do them across all layers, levels, and dimensions of time and space. I mean, I cover it all to make sure that these sorts of programs do not interfere with any kind of cord cutting procedure. Now, there is another one that is a big factor in cord cutting procedures, and this is one of the major ones that had me doing repeat cord cutting again and again. And that is that these cords have what you could call a backup file or a recreation file. So it's a little bit like a computer. If you think you delete something on your computer and it goes to the recycle bin, to give you the opportunity that if you did it by mistake, you can go and click restore and it restores the file back to its original origin and state to be used. So in the same way, this can be done with cords. And this can also be part of the subconscious mind, in that the subconscious mind will then look for the cord. Oh, it's not there, but the backup file is there. Oh, we'd better recreate it. And so this is why one of the major things that I've found to be a game changer in my cord cutting procedure is to destroy those backup and recreation files and programs to make sure that they don't reappear. Now, I'd say dealing with those three things is largely effective, and it's unlikely that cords will reappear. However, there is something else that I would like to touch on here because it does happen. It happened to me, and I had somebody reach out on social media when I put my cord cutting meditation out there. And that is when the cords reappear after destroying the contracts, the backup files, the programs. What do you do then? Now, one of the things that I've found is that an aspect of ourselves, so you could say perhaps an inner child self, might be opening what I refer to as the back door. So it's opening a door within your energy fields that allows the other person in. And essentially, you could say it's that other person then actively trying to record with you. And this part of yourself is flinging the door open, saying, yes, absolutely. And why I mention an inner child self is that often these child selves view the other person as somebody of importance in the life. So it could be a parent, for example, where it would actually feel natural for a child to want that person in their life. It's usually a primary caregiver where it would be normal. But I think a number of starseeds have certainly experienced and chosen to incarnate in families where the dynamics with parents can be a little bit challenging. And so we don't necessarily want that parent or parents having access to our energy fields. And so what you can do in that instance is go into meditation, tune into that part of yourself. So call forth that child self, if it is a child self. And you have a conversation where you explain that this other person is toxic, that we need to be closing the door in our energy fields to that other person and don't open it. And that is where you need to invite that child self or that aspect of yourself to come towards you for anything that they are looking for in that other toxic person. So if it is a parent who is the toxic person that you're trying to cord cut with, then you need to become the parent to that child self. And so maybe it's a type of nurturing, cuddling. I know with my child self, I needed to really hold her and reassure her, and just be aware that it's often not just one conversation. I had to have a number of conversations, and very soothing, loving conversations with this child self to keep explaining gently, no, we need to close the door to that toxic person and come here for love. And eventually that inner child self of mine got the message, and she stopped opening the door to that toxic person. So just be gentle and kind, and it will happen that they get the picture and you can close a door to that toxic person in your life. Now do check out my cord cutting meditation. It is free on YouTube, SoundCloud and Insight Timer. And I've included some things in there like destroying the agreements, the contracts, that sort of thing. It doesn't have the process of working on the inner self who might be opening the door, because that is not always applicable to everyone. And what I always suggest with my tracks is draw inspiration from it and form your own unique process. You might listen to somebody else's cord cutting track and really like an aspect or procedure that they've included, and then you might like a couple of mine, and then you form your own technique that you use, or you're welcome to just press play on mine. Now, I'd like to also share with you that if you happen to have the Flower of Life design on a garment by Ascension Swag, I created this. I'm wearing the tank top here. You can wear it or even hold it. So for example, I've got the sweatshirt here. While you are listening to that cord cutting meditation, and within the design is infused with ultraviolet fire and the violet flame, and that will help with the dissipating of the lower vibrational energies that could be coming from those toxic cords. So as you are removing them, the design itself has also been attuned to help with rebalancing of the energy fields, the chakras, the meridians. And so once the cords have been removed, the design can help with that. You don't necessarily need this. You can listen to the track anyway. But if you would like an Ascension Swag garment with the Flower of Life, I will pop the link in the description below. So wishing you all the best with your cord cutting. And oh, one last thing, I did have somebody suggest I change the name to cord extraction. The reason why I've not done this is because most people know it as cord cutting. But yes, in my technique, you could say it really is more extraction. You can cut if you like, you can also dissolve, but essentially it is removing all the remnants as well. I've tried to make it as extensive as possible. So I will pop the link to that down below for my YouTube channel if you'd like to listen to it there. So thanks for joining me, and wishing you a beautiful day free of toxic cords. Bye.